Welcome back to the Pot of Greed, guys. It's another Thursday, and
Wednesday for us.
That means that there's things to be talked about on the Pot of Greed.
And boy, we will. And we're going to ignore the fact that Paul and I have already been talking for like an hour and a half. And no, that's not a bonus episode. That's just how we waste time.
Us not being punctual about anything at all. Anyway, though, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys are having a great week.
I know I am.
The usual requests apply. Thumbs up the video.
And put the ones in the chat.
And of course, if you're watching after the fact, then a comment helps as well. A share, a review. We're desperate here.
Let's say you can't do any of those, then I guess you could be a channel member. I guess.
Yeah, I guess if none of those things,
none of those work out, you could be a
then
channel
you
member,
can just pay. No, it's been an interesting week for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we've gotten a few neat choice announcements. Nothing that seems major, although I guess that kind of depends on who you ask. So I'm excited to get into it. Anything before we get into the Yu-Gi-Oh? Any Alec
Before
weekly updates?
Yu-Gi-Oh? That's
Did you go to locals or?
No, actually, I missed out on locals. I forget why I missed out, but I did miss out this past weekend, so that was lame.
Yeah,
but I did upgrade my deck a little, so next time I will not miss locals because I have some changes that I made, and I want to see how it goes.
All right, well, here's some new Yu-Gi-Oh products for you. First of all, they have announced the two promo cards for spectators at Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds this year. So as you know,
envelope cards, right?
Yeah, the envelope cards. Worlds this year is in Paris, France, I believe.
France.
And so Konami has revealed the two exclusive promo cards. It's a Breaker the Magical Warrior that's actually featuring a special art that's sort of reminiscent to a painting, and Mirror Force. For those who don't know, anytime that you go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds, they'll have these. It's quite the noise you made.
That breaker looks so good.
Yeah, anytime you go to Worlds, Konami will do like these envelopes, and they'll have two cards in them. I remember the first year we were able to go, it was I think it was Red Eyes and a Monster Reborn. And a Monster Reborn, and then more recently there was Dark Magician Girl and I think a Magic Cylinder.
That was a 2019.
No, the Red Eyes one was 2019.
2023 was a Dark Magician Girl and Magic Cylinder. But that was also the year that no one got sealed envelopes. They didn't bother sealing them.
Yeah, that one was kind of weird. Well, anyway, that's what it is this year. And I do like that this breaker kind of has this painted look.
I want it so bad, but I know I'm not going to be in Paris, France to get one. Unless
Konami wants to invite us out, and I know they don't.
I don't think they do.
They barely want spectators at these events these days. It seems
at least in the States, I feel like the France one
in Europe they
open.
are. It does seem like they have this thing where you can win spectator passes, but I think you still have to win them through sweepstakes or through just kind of random social media things. I don't know if you can just formally buy them.
It felt so open in Germany.
Yeah. Also, to celebrate the 2025 World Championship season, Konami TCG will release an exclusive booster pack that includes a copy of a special repainted Exodia card. So again, it looks like a painting. And something cool about this is that you can pull it and it'll have this French flag themed stamp on it.
So when I saw that, my first thought was, oh God, it's French Omnimon. And for you guys who don't play Digimon TCG, we recently got an Omnimon card who was 3 colors in the same order as the French flag, and so he's known as French Omni. And so I saw that and it's oh, we have a French Exodia too. Honestly, same energy. And then for some reason I thought of Italian Tifa, and I was well, that's not.
Yeah, Italian Tifa was a totally different thing. Why did that come to your mind?
I have no idea. I think because the whole Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering thing.
Yeah, it's been so on the mind. You just thought of that Italian Tifa thing from the other year.
From the other year.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't often do these sort of variations on art, because if you look closely, it's not just that it kind of has a painting style texture to it.
You can even see the word sample.
They put that in everything. I hate when they do that. I mean, I know why they do that, but I hate when they do that. It always looks gross. But look at the border of the card.
That's actually the number one thing I noticed with the borders on it and the breaker.
Yeah,
I love
frame.
that. And I really want them. It's just, you can't always get what you want.
And then finally, they're doing a special booster set that I believe is going to just be available at OTS stores or something. So this is the World Championship Season Limited Pack, releasing in the TCG on August 30th. Mm-hmm. The WCS Limited Pack celebrates this past year tournaments, showcasing some of the themes to make an impact across all the events that have paved the road to WCS 2025. We've witnessed the reign of Yubel, Water versus Fire, the Sinful Spoil story, Return of Blue Eyes, and so much more.
What is this Water versus Fire?
Well, last year was like Fire's big year, and then like
For
Water
sure.
kind of just showed up recently to hand loop people.
But we never had Water versus Fire. This is what I wanted. They didn't give it to us.
Well, I'm sure that there was a Mermail player who hand looped a Fire player at some point at a tournament.
A Mermail versus Fire King. We did that duel, didn't we?
We did. Ours is like
You didn't
a
hand
mess.
loop me.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know how. Yeah, but the set includes 20 cards available as ultra rares and secret rares. All 20 cards will also be available with the World Championship logo emblazoned on their text box. So I guess I don't know if that means like it doesn't even really say like how many come in the pack or how you get the pack or.
I feel like they're gonna sell the packs
I think that you're gonna probably have to go to your OTS.
and then buy a
like-
booster box.
Well, there might be like an entry prize for like a Worlds tournament thing. Because I've said for a while that Yu-Gi-Oh's Worlds format that they do every year, like it's like a special ban list that's exclusive to just the Worlds competitors, and it's kind of based on like the OCG ban list sort of, but also like based on what's available in both territories. It's a bit of a mess. And it's weird because basically when that happens, neither like territory is really able to get behind it or like follow it because it's just like
I mean, it's a completely unique format. So only the people who are actually at Worlds have been playing and prepping for this mysterious format. The rest of us, it's one weekend.
yeah, so it seems like they're maybe trying to extend that a little bit and get your average player in on the festivities.
They should let us use OCG cards then.
That would probably be a better way of doing that, huh? Just mix the OCG and the TCG, but maybe I'm getting a little bit too political about that. Anywho, though,
Nah, there's more politics later in the pod.
yeah, you can get this emblazoned Exodia in that pack, and
French
you can get it, I guess, a
Exodia.
secret or an ultra. And so, kind of
Well,
cool.
I'm gonna have to get my hands on that pack, so I want that Exodia. But I guess I have to get an envelope to get the breaker though.
Yeah, I think that's envelope exclusive. Or maybe it's not, who knows. Either way, though, the more exciting news to me is that Konami's bringing back the Retro Pack.
Hey, Retro Pack 2, baby.
They're introducing Retro Pack 2. So they are going to be re-releasing it in the same way that they did Retro Pack 1, which is to say the original card frames and card look. You might sort of remember that. That was one of the appeals to Retro Pack 1. It does not look like how the modern cards are printed. And also it's got the original card names and text. So they're not even updated with like, problem-solving card text. It's like this is the old thing.
A whole lot of fun when you're trying to figure out, is this a cost? Is this card Target? I don't know.
Just like with Retro Pack 1, the Retro Pack 2 2025 re-release will have doubled the foil printing rates for the pack. That's what they did for the
Which
first
is extremely necessary, guys. Pull rates on old Yu-Gi-Oh products suck.
Yeah, they're kind of brutal. So the fact that they did that for Retro Pack 1 was very good. When
it
we
made
did
it so much fun to open.
our Retro Rivals series, that was a lot of fun. And I was looking at the card pool for Retro Pack 2 and like it's pretty hot. Like there's some really good stuff.
It's basically like Retro Pack 1 in just pure heat.
Some highlight secret rares that actually came in Retro Pack 2 because people might have forgotten. Valkyrion the Magna Warrior,
Which isn't great, but it is cool.
which I think actually was like an ultra rare, but or maybe no, it's a secret rare. Harpy's Pet Dragon came in there. Archfiend of Gilfer, Light and Darkness Dragon,
That's cool.
Blue Eyes Shining Dragon.
All right.
Kind of a weird one. Dragon Master Knight, Victory Dragon's in there, which that's gonna be in our Retro Rivals 2 series. If someone pulls a Victory Dragon, they can try to just win an episode outright.
Victory Dragon just has to deal battle damage, right?
Yeah, well, it has to win the duel,
Then it wins the match.
and it just automatically wins the match for you.
Oh, jeez.
So if
One
you were-
episode will be cut short.
So if you win a duel with Victory Dragon in game 1 in a tournament, like when this card was first released, then you would win that round, that whole round. And you could even do that in game 2 and just automatically win the whole round. So it's
Did
very-
Victory Dragon actually pull that off in tournament? Do you know?
I have no idea if it did back in the day. I assume it probably did at some point because that's too powerful a win condition for no one to at least try.
But it seems so difficult, given that Yu-Gi-Oh was such a trap-heavy game back then.
That and also it couldn't be special summoned. So like you literally just had to tribute summon Victory Dragon, and it'd be a tall ask. But still, though, if you consider the fact that like if you attack for game with it, you just win the match. No side decking, no anything. Like
you build your whole deck around that.
Also, Dreadscythe Harvester, Green Baboon, Defender of the Forest,
horrible cards.
Ring of Destruction, and Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness.
Like it's a little hot and cold there. Some of those cards are
amazing, and others maybe not.
Yeah, some are amazing, and some are just maybe you don't put this in your deck.
One exciting thing is like having unerrated Ring of Destruction for print.
Oh my gosh,
that's just really exciting. And obviously, Gorz is terrifyingly good, especially like for back in the day when it would have just been released. Just the idea of your opponent like passing without like doing anything, leaving their field empty, and you attack and they gorge you, and then you're just like, oh my god.
But like Retro Pack 1, because when I was looking at the card set for Retro Pack 2, it's the quality of your non-secrets is just so high in the set. When you're playing, if you do it like we did with Retro Rivals, and you play it sealed, I mean, you don't really get bad packs. Because your common, your supers and below, they're all fire.
Yeah.
It's I can't wait. This is my number one thing on my Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Christmas list, even though it's what month is it? May? Yeah. This is the product I want.
Well, the reception to it hasn't been entirely positive though, because similar to Retro Pack 1, some old school collector types are a little bit unhappy to hear this announcement because they sort of fear. Previously, Retro Pack 2 was a pretty elusive set. It was just hard to get your hands on. I don't know if it was like Retro Pack 1, where Retro Pack 1 I think was only released in Europe.
Yeah,
it didn't
Retro
even
Pack
release
1 was
in
never
North America.
In the United States.
I don't know if it was the case with Retro Pack 2. Like I think Retro Pack 2 did
2
release.
was released here.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that like at a Walmart shelf and stuff when I was a kid. However, still, because they're even keeping that same like print quality and like style, it really does feel like if you maybe had some exclusive Retro Pack 2 cards, maybe their value or perceived value will go down from Konami doing these reprints. And so some collectors are none too pleased.
It is a little weird the way that Konami has done these Retro Pack reprints, because they've kind of kept everything the same. You actually really need to know cards to identify
what's new version,
versus you know a quote unquote grade 10 Retro Pack card should be in pristine condition, so it should look like one of these brand new Retro Pack 2 cards. So it's weird for the collectibles market, I get it, but I'd actually just rather have Retro Pack 2 than them keep the value.
Yeah, I've said it before, I will say it again. I am pro reprint in all cases. Like there's virtually nothing where I think that things shouldn't be reprinted. Like I think that, cards are meant to be gotten by people. Reprint them, let people have them. I know that it's a little different with this old school stuff because I guess there's like a perceived, like these aren't tournament cards by today's standards. No one's playing a single card in like Retro Pack 2. But still, I think like there are a lot of people who just missed out on that. Or maybe you were like me, where it's not so much that you missed out on Retro Pack 2. Like, I knew it existed on the shelf. It was at Walmart's. But, I was also freaking, how old? Like 12 or something?
Oh, yeah.
And poor? Yeah, well, both. It kind of goes hand in hand. Like, if you're not like a Nepo baby, if you're 12 years old, you don't just get to buy whatever Yu-Gi-Oh packs you want. So, I remember maybe being able to buy a few packs of Retro Pack 2, but never, like, nearly as much as I might have wanted. And so, this is cool. It just gives me the opportunity to, as an adult, where I can afford it and indulge. And with double the drop rates,
It just promises to be a good time. I honestly think these Retro Pack reprints are superior to our Metal Raider, Legend of Blue Eyes, and Spell Ruler reprints. This is the set for the retro heads.
Yeah, it's so much more concentrated. We said the same thing about Retro Pack 1. Like, when you open those Metal Raiders and LOB packs, they look really cool, but then you sort of quickly realize it's like weak vanillas and
the pull rates are god
whip spells that like kind of don't do anything. But with this, it's like even like you said, even like the commons in this set are just good cards.
It was solid.
So
none of those weird like 450 attack monsters.
yeah. So that's Retro Pack 2. We will be doing a Retro Rivals 2, or maybe we'll have like a different name for it. Retro Revivals, someone said.
Retro Revivals.
Yeah, Retro Revival.
It honestly sounds a bit like a Yu-Gi-Oh card name.
Yeah, so we'll figure something out. We'll have a little fun with it. I am looking forward to Retro Pack 2. I hope all of you are too. The last bit of Yu-Gi-Oh news is Konami Japan. They did a little animation for the new Tactical Tri Exorcist Angels and Super Exo Armored Force decks.
The what now?
For those who don't know, that's the Exo Sister and Rescue Ace Tactical Tri deck.
Say the Rescue Ace deck name again.
Super Exo Armored Force Rescue Ace.
Okay, I get it now. The first time you said it, it felt like it was like word jumbly. But I get it now. Okay.
So there's this little animation where you basically just see like Exo Sister Michaelis coming out and then like forming Exo Sisters Magnifica and stuff. And then there's also like just the different Rescue Ace machines. And you see Turbulence. And so they did a little animation and it shows the two structure decks at the end. What do you think?
I should be completely positive because it does look nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's cleanly animated. We get a slightly different perspective on these monsters because they're in motion than we've ever seen before. But you know what dawned on me watching that video? Mm-hmm. That this is the first time like we've marketed a Yu-Gi-Oh product with animation before that's not from like the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Like
I think so, yeah, I guess.
It's 2025 and we've never animated these monsters before.
You're right. I mean, I guess like maybe they used some of those animations from the Chronicles thing for when they released the Blue Eye structure. I don't know if they did that, but because I mean, I know they had like
if they did, I didn't see
Maiden Praying. But no, I get what you're saying. Like it does kind of. I don't want to say it rings hollow because the animation looks cool, and I'm glad that they're doing it. It just reminds me that like with that Sky Striker animation, it didn't feel like it like landed leading you anywhere. Like, okay, it's cool. It's Rey. She's there. She's fighting. If you know, you know. If you don't, then she's kind of just a random girl fighting somewhere in a mech. But then it ends, and it's like, okay, so like, where am I supposed to direct this kinetic energy?
Well,
right?
you buy the product.
But they don't tell you what product to buy. It doesn't indicate anything. It ends. Whereas here, I like that they show you the Tactical Tri decks. They're going to be they're already in Master Duel now. They just added them a couple days ago. And I think that they are releasing in Japan, so I should be getting mine in a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I think this is like a better way of using Konami's animation muscle is to like show you something cool and then tell you, okay, here's what you just watched in like card form. So
I just can't get over the fact that this is still the first time we've done it. It's mind-boggling.
If you were a sort of returning player, maybe in Japan or something, which of the two do you think you'd pick up? Exo Sisters or Rescue Ace?
Well, I know in Japan, waifus are paramount, so probably Exo Sisters. Since if I'm a random Japanese guy, I probably like that more than nondescript fire thing.
Yeah, it's funny how I ended up liking Rescue Ace. I know we mentioned it in the pod a few weeks ago. Like, I just kind of picked it up on a whim because I kind of thought that the art looked really vibrant. Like, I didn't have any interest in them being like futuristic firefighters or whatever, but now I've started playing it. It's just become one of my favorite decks. Like, I really enjoy it. And the same for Exo Sisters, actually. I didn't really have a reason to pick them up, and I built it, and I just liked it.
I mean, we know why you picked up Exo Sisters. You don't have to be coy.
Okay, that's right. Why did I pick them up? Why did I pick them up?
We know.
I picked them up for the same reasons you just described, but you'd pick them up.
Well,
you're a gooner.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so you asked me a hypothetical if I were a Japanese person.
Okay, what would Alec buy?
Just neither. I don't like either one of them.
Okay, sure.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Rescue Ace look okay, but the only Rescue Ace monster I actually like the design of is Hydrant. And then the Exo Sisters, they don't actually look like anything to me. I don't know. Like, I understand they're supposed to be exorcists, but they don't look like exorcists to me.
Yeah.
So they kind of just like random, just
They're
anime
like Schwester
characters.
sisters. Is like sort of supposed to be like where like they have like kind of partners and girlfriends.
Like, but and
It
you
might
can,
not be your
you can
thing.
see that from like the lore, right? But from the artwork, they just look like people, and that's cool.
Yeah, maybe they're not remarkable enough for you. They
You
don't
know,
look
maybe if they
special
had
enough.
like bigger weapons. Actually, they don't even carry weapons really.
Not until they
only the
transform.
Xyz monsters have weapons. If they had like giant swords and stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. 'Cause otherwise, I'm like, oh, they look like they're having a good time.
I think they picked two really good archetypes playstyle wise. They're kind of mid-rangey decks.
Yeah, neither deck really ends games fast.
Yeah, they're not just like OTKing you. They're kind of more reacting to what you're doing, and so I think that's good material to put into a sealed sort of returning player, kind of beginner player.
I wonder
product.
if the Rescue Ace deck's going to include OSS and a Snake Eye core.
I actually wouldn't be surprised given like how they tend to build
That'd be
these.
sick.
The only reason they might not, I think, is just because like maybe OSS it's banned in the OCG, so maybe they wouldn't include it.
What's it?
Or is it
in
banned in
Master
I think
Duel,
the
it's at
OCG
1, right?
Yeah, maybe it's at 1. I don't even actually know, so I'm not the person to answer. That's the Yu-Gi-Oh news though for the week. Really not a load of it, but just a few like interesting new products, I suppose.
I mean, anytime we get a new animation is always nice. I like that. At least we're in an era of Yu-Gi-Oh where we get new animation that arguably looks better than what we would get in an actual Yu-Gi-Oh anime. We just don't get a lot of it.
Yeah, speaking of animation, this isn't a story, or at least not yet, but the Sky Striker Part 2 is supposed to be, I think, releasing on like Friday, I guess tomorrow.
This one's actually, I know this one's probably going to fall off in viewership compared to the first episode, but to me, I think this episode is extremely important because they kind of just showed us scenes we'd already seen, but in a slightly different way in that first episode. I think this second episode is all the like goodwill and interest is hanging in the balance right here. Like this episode, it kind of can't fail or the entire Chronicle anime series loses a stupid amount of interest.
I think you're right. I think something that's going to probably end up happening, people are still going to watch this episode 2 tentatively because like episode 1 was lukewarm in terms of reception. So people want to see if their fears will be assuaged, right? They won't be. I'm just going to spoil it for you right now. Like I haven't seen it. I'm just saying like it's going to be another. Like they planned all these out, like years in advance.
Put money in the pot on it.
If I had some, I would. It's going to be another.
We got to start doing that in pod. Just like
put money on it.
Take hot takes. We drop money in the pot, and then we come back next week, and someone collects.
That actually would be fun. We should do that. Just like putting bets on. Because I mean, I think it's going to be roughly the same thing. Another 4-minute bit. Like, because I think there's like some people have this idea in their head that like, well, we complained about the thing that was released at the end of April, so they'll surely have enough time to see all our complaints and make a 20-minute episode in 1 month.
I mean, I think that was a complaint, but I think the biggest complaint is that we didn't feel like we saw something new.
What I'm hoping for is, yeah, what you're saying is maybe there's something new and that we get a sense of like
continuity
and like closure. Just something like that would be good.
And for the love of God, some voice acting.
Voice acting would be good.
Yeah, like what one line?
I do think people are going to tune back in for the like Albaz Part 1 story, if nothing else, just because like it's different than Striker. Like I'm not like really a big Sky Striker fan. It doesn't, much like I guess what you were saying with Exo Sister. For me with like Sky Striker, I just don't find like Ray's all right. I'm not like super into like kind of anime girl in mecha suit as like a trope. It doesn't really do much for me. But I think the Albaz sort of the white story, the branded thing, is more interesting to me. So.
Wow, of course it would be the white story that you're interested in.
I mean, I'm just saying. Not like that, but just anyway. Yeah, so I'll be continuing to tune into these. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player, so I like all this stuff. Also, I saw something kind of interesting. This is just like a video I saw on YouTube from Yu-Gi-Oh Everything where he was talking about why we have not gotten a 9th Yu-Gi-Oh anime, like what's going on.
Yu-Gi-Oh 9s.
And people can watch the video themselves if they want more perspective on it. But basically, he had interviewed or gotten to speak with somebody at like Konami New York, like Konami Cross Media New York, and then also one of the Japanese people who worked on I think Go Rush or Sevens or something, like the animation studio. It's Studio Bridge, I think is what it's called. And so while there are not like concrete answers, it basically came down to the fact that since Kazuki Takahashi's passing, the company has just really sort of is still finding its footing in terms of how to move forward with like a Yu-Gi-Oh anime, because apparently Takahashi was very, and I think you could kind of guess, very much at the helm of making new Yu-Gi-Oh anime.
I mean, I think a lot of people actually assumed that he was hands off with Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole. After sometime around like 5Ds, Takahashi was very private, and a lot of the cards didn't seem to have his like a fingerprint on them anymore. So at least for me, I guess I can't really speak for everybody else. I was like, well, maybe Takahashi is just like chilling in retirement and just Konami and them are just making whatever as the anime. But I guess it turns out he was actually heavily involved the whole time.
Yeah, as it turns out, that's true. Apparently, he was a very, very big proponent of Zexal when it first came out. Like, he pushed really hard for it. He wanted to age the protagonist down. That was his personal wish.
If we were doing pot betting, I would have bet against that. I would not have believed it.
Yeah, and if you asked me that, some years ago, I would have been like, yeah, it seems like Takahashi was, because I think in the eyes of many old school kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh fans who like the mysticism and sort of the magic and darkness of the earlier series, it seems weird. Like, Zexal made it like this protagonist is young and he sucks, but apparently Takahashi that's what he wanted it to be. That was by design. Like, he wanted Yu-Gi-Oh to age down the protagonist. He wanted a protagonist who was not skilled at the game, but like learned to be more explicitly so through his experiences with other people and meeting Astral. And so I thought that was cool. Apparently also, according to the interviews, he was a huge proponent of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, like as a product and an anime, like Sevens and stuff. He knew, and I don't want to put obviously words in his mouth, but according to what was said in these interviews anyway, he knew that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had reached it was not as accessible, gameplay wise or maybe just series wise. And so that was why he pushed heavily for Rush, because it was meant to be marketed towards kids and utilize a mixture of new things and old things. But the main draw being that it's a stupid easy rule set to learn and pick up and have fun with. So,
well, it sounds like we should honor his memory and bring the Rush Duels to the West and not just in Duel Links.
That would be great. I don't know what Konami's thinking of with that, but I think it would be cool. So that's a neat video. If I remember to, I'll try to link it in the description if people want to check it out. Shout out to Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything. He's a very big sort of Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime side tuber.
With a name of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, they better.
Yeah, true.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, but all the content is like Dragon Ball Z.
Right. Well, that's all of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Though.
But not all the TCG stories.
Is it ever really? Some weeks, yes.
Some weeks, there's not much. This week, I did find some random things and an update from a story from a year ago.
Okay, I want to hear the update. First of all, what story? What's going on?
So, do you remember the card heist at Gen Con last year?
Oh, I do. I remember hearing about that.
I say cover, but we did talk about it on the pod where I believe it was two guys kind of snuck into the loading area for Gen Con and made off with...
Oh, that was 2023.
Was that 2023?
That was 2023 when
oh,
that
it sure
happened.
was. It's right here from Gen Con 2023.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years.
Wait, we've been on the pod this long?
I know. I remember when we first talked about this story.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Actually, a little quick aside to that. When that happened, we were at Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds in Japan. I remember because people, Konami people and just people at Worlds were talking about the story because we were on an elevator in that hotel. Mm-hmm. And someone was like, yeah, this happened. I do remember. Anyway, yeah, go on, sorry.
So it says one of the two men that were arrested and charged with stealing $300,000 worth of Magic the Gathering cards from the vendor storage area at Indianapolis Convention Center during Gen Con 2023 has been sentenced under a plea agreement.
Okay.
So they do have the names of the two guys who were arrested. We're not going to share their name just because, well, that doesn't help us any. But it says the felony charges against one of them was reduced to lesser charges, to which he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to 2 years of probation in order to pay restitution with his co-defendant of $542 to some person, I guess a person that was stolen from, and then $27,000 to Wizards of the Coast. The probation will be served in New York.
Okay, so if I'm remembering how this story played out the first time, it was they'd snuck in, right? You said they snuck in and they pretended to be like staff.
Yeah.
And they wheeled away pallets of product. Wasn't that what roughly happened?
They had like little like vests and stuff to look like they were like workers, and they just kind of walked off with a pallet.
Man, okay. So I guess they finally have gotten caught.
It's interesting that in a situation like this, they even were offered a plea deal, since this sounds like a slam dunk easy case. But I guess anybody can get a plea deal in this day and age, just to avoid going to court over it. Mm-hmm. But do you think that they got off easy, only having to pay essentially $27,600?
I mean, it certainly sounds maybe a little generous, because if I'm just like making a rough guess at how much maybe some stuff on a pallet might be worth,
it was $300,000 worth.
It was okay. So it was $300,000 worth of stuff stolen.
Yes.
Maybe are we like sure we're reading this correctly?
Yeah, no, I'm dead serious.
So
they were charged with stealing $300,000 worth of.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that part. It's just like, so I guess they had to return the stuff.
Yes.
And then they also were just able to pay like, I guess, $27,000. That sounds easy. A little. I mean, yeah, not easy in the sense that like, okay, like I just pull out $27,000 today, but like, you know, I figured it would be something harsher.
I mean, 2 years of probation, I feel like they got off very easy, because stealing $300,000 worth of anything is a felony, and they were able to plead that down to just 2 years of probation. Come on now.
Yeah, I mean,
for such a brazen crime, this isn't like someone just stole a couple cards off of a card shop's table or something. No, they actively like pretended to be workers. They had a plan. They executed. Like that's career criminal activity. These guys might not have been career criminals, but
they certainly had a career criminal moment.
Yeah, they showed that they had the propensity for that, and I'm like, that's why they got off really easy.
I mean, lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them. Guys, do not follow. I mean, we say this on the pod all the time. Don't steal cards, and remember, and if you do steal like a lot of cards, you might end up on probation and having to pay like over $30,000 of your own money just to like make up for that.
Well, speaking of trading cards, so there was this fun little press release that GameStop put out last week. I think Chris sent me this, but they also just have posted it on their official Twitter. Mm-hmm. So for immediate release, a little GameStop press release, GameStop tonight proudly salutes the brave, shivering, Red Bull-fueled heroes camping outside Chicago's store number 402 for the Pokemon Prismatic Evolution Super Premium Collection. So yes, there were Pokemon players camping outside the Chicago GameStop. They say they came armed with tents, with folding chairs, with portable chargers, with unwavering resolve. And GameStop stands today to press F to pay respects to these brave warriors of the hobby. The noble few who have chosen to bear frigid nights, not out of necessity, but out of love for the game. Here's a quote. We told them it releases Friday, said GameStop store manager Chris. They showed up Wednesday at 2 p.m. So
that means people took off from work.
Yeah, or maybe they don't work. This is their work.
Oh, Jesus.
Reselling Pokemon products, maybe. We at GameStop understand that Pokemon isn't just a card game, it's a lifestyle, a calling, and, at times, financially irresponsible obsession that brings us all together. And nothing says I love Pokemon like missing 3 days of work to maybe get a Venusaur you already have.
I'm sorry, that's actually funny.
Yeah, they're roasting them here. And then they have another quote from that store manager. They pulled up with a pickup truck and a flat top grill. They grilled burgers to make it through the night and cooked breakfast in the morning for everyone that wanted some. They didn't charge anything, and when I asked them about it, they said they did it for the love of the community, added Chris. With every mosquito bite, every lukewarm energy drink, every awkward run-in with the confused mall cop, you've proven yourselves worthy of what lies inside. Caterpie, Psyduck, Pikachu, and possibly a PSA 10 Charizard.
Hey, you know, so that's just love of the game. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
may your pulls be pristine.
It's still going.
Your packs be plentiful, and your patience last just long enough to not yell at us when we run out in 14 minutes. See you at 10 a.m., you glorious cardboard crusaders. Some GameStop's official media.
Wow. I can't tell if they love or hate the Pokemon TCG fan base.
Well, here's a picture of the tent outside of GameStop. A couple of, these people had their tents. There was another picture I saw somewhere where, like, they had their grill and they were grilling and all that. So I think this is kind of fun. I kind of like this poking fun at the absurdity of it thing. I know, like, people get angry at GameStop anytime they open their mouth, but, like...
GameStop breathes, I seethe.
Yes, actually. Like, there are some people who just hate them, but, like, I think it's kind of funny. It's, like, tongue-in-cheek. They know that these people, this is, like, what they do, and it's kind of really a little obsessive and a little over the top and, like, unnecessary, but...
It's problematic.
But, like, I think that by acknowledging it in this way, where it's kind of a light roast, but also... They're not saying don't do it. They're just saying, wow, y'all are... Okay. Like...
I mean, it's like they said in the post, right? We told them it'll be available Friday, and they showed up on a Wednesday. I guess to some degree, GameStop's not doing anything wrong. They have a set release date. They told everybody. They didn't tell anybody to show up days ahead of time. But like, I guess as long as they're not posing like a public like safety and health risk, I guess it's not a problem.
It sounds like what I'm really sensing is for these people, it sounds kind of like it was like a community event because they're kind of doing the opposite of posing a threat. It sounds like they were, I mean, I guess camping's a little...
I mean, they're tailgating the GameStop.
Yeah, but they're tailgating the GameStop, and they were offering like, grilled food to people for breakfast and stuff. Like,
hopefully it's completely cooked because it'd be crazy if the food was undercooked and now everybody's sick.
Yeah. So, like, it seems like they're doing a good thing, and I think that these people probably, I have no way to verify this or not, but probably weren't like malicious scalpers, because I feel like malicious scalpers they're not nice people, so they wouldn't do this sort of thing.
I don't know if a community of malicious scalpers, they'll be, kind to each other ish.
I suppose that's true.
Because I'm trying to now, guys, in the comments and in the premiere, you might have to help me out here. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what a Pokemon collector is exactly, because until today I didn't think they were sitting outside of GameStops 2 days early to get their product, maybe the night before, getting in line, but I didn't expect 2 days ahead of time. Is that what we do now? Is that normal, or is this abnormal?
I do wonder if I assume that the 2-day thing is probably on the fringes. Like, I don't think many people are doing the 2-day like miss work type of thing. But I know that, like, anytime that I've tried to get Pokemon cards just for fun and gone to a GameStop, I mean, they do wait at least a couple hours before they open to, like, get in line and grab the stuff, so.
And maybe it's because I'm not an active Pokemon player and collector that I just can't really wrap my head around it. Maybe if this happened with Yu-Gi-Oh, where, then, like, let's imagine next Yu-Gi-Oh set is promised to be sold out within minutes. We will not be able to get our hands on it. Are we willing to get in line at least, let's say, a day early? No, let's not go 2 days early. Are we willing to sit outside for a day to get our hands on the next Yu-Gi-Oh set? Because it will not be available after 30 minutes of this store opening. Are we willing to do that? And I kind of want to say no, but maybe
would you? Do you think?
Because I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh like competitively, so I don't feel like I need the cards. But then again, a lot of people don't play Pokemon competitively either. But we don't know what these guys want either. Yeah. They could play the game. They could just collect. They could sell. We don't actually know what they do.
I can say with certainty that I would not be out there. You know, like I'm not trying. That's not a knock against. Like maybe these people. It sounds like these are nice people and they're kind of making an event. They might not even had work. Like maybe they were off work or something. I don't know. But like
they had to take.
I'm just saying, like
ain't no job you can do that with.
You will not see me out there like on a Wednesday. I guess
they could be work from home types.
Anywho,
were there any computers in the pictures? Were anyone like doing like their remote work?
I'm sure anybody that had a computer was probably like looking at marketing spreadsheets, maybe for like TCG player costs, to maximize profits. Well, here's another real quick thing: is that the new Pokemon TCG products, actually all Pokemon TCG products that are new, I think are going to be following this rule. GameStop says limit 1 per customer. As we prepare for the May 30th launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Destined Rivals, which that's the one with like, is that the one with like the Giovanni?
Yeah, that's like the
Mewtwo?
Team Rocket themed set.
GameStop has decided to limit customers to 1 unit per SKU each to help ensure more fans receive the opportunity to access the latest expansion. Sleeved booster packs remain limit 5 per customer. So,
well, it sounds like now the game will be to get like 15 of your closest associates to buy for you, since you won't be able to buy the 15 yourself.
I guess you're really going to bring a grill out there then, huh? Just to feed the family because they're all waiting.
And I do think that might be what you have to do, right? If you're going to get 15 people to like stand in line,
you're going to have to like grill,
provide everything.
Bring the entertainment, bring the little power bank, the TV. So that's kind of your little. Effectively, that's our Pokemon theft story. Is that this time GameStop? This is
legal selling.
Yeah, GameStop is encouraging you to come outside and camp.
I mean, they're going to make their sales one way or another, so I guess...
Yeah.
Just having extra fun with it.
Any other TCG stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I'm surprised.
Now, this one's not huge, but I did think it was like vaguely interesting. Was that Wizards of the Coast is launching a Standard Showdown event for their Universes Beyond sets, namely the Final Fantasy set that's set to release next month?
What is Standard Showdown?
So I am not 100,000% sure, but it seems to be a local level standard tournament.
Oh.
So
they did say they were trying to like do more with Standard this year. That's kind of the
because with these Universes Beyond sets, and especially this set, a lot of people their eyes are already glued to Commander. They want to pick up the Commander decks. They want to open up the play boosters so they can build more Commander decks. That's what a lot of people want to do with these Final Fantasy cards. But this is the first standard legal Universes Beyond set.
Which is funny that they're doing this event, I guess, as like a celebration of sorts, because it sounds like many players don't like that.
Yeah. Because Wizards says, hey, all these new Final Fantasy fans, they're encouraging their local game stores to use these standard showdowns as launch events because they want to get these new Final Fantasy fans into playing standard format Magic. They're going to have a bunch of cards that are all standard legal. Let's get them playing standard. At least that's the rhyme or reason to it. Do you think that's how this will play out? Do you think all the people who are buying up or planning to buy up all the Final Fantasy cards, they want to play standard Magic?
I mean, I don't think that half these people even want to play Magic.
Okay. Well, they thought about that. You know what they did?
What do they have? What's going on?
So they have promo cards that you can only get from these events.
That's good. I mean, generally.
Ultima and Squall Seed Mercenary. They're right here.
Oh.
And I believe that's a reference to Ultima from Final Fantasy 16. I actually cannot tell. That actually might be a different Final Fantasy. No one knows.
I mean, Ultima shows up, I guess, in different
quite a
forms
few,
and
different
games.
concepts.
Yeah.
But yeah, that might be reason enough for Final Fantasy fans to at least try Standard,
Yeah. So are you going to try Standard? Are you going to be at one of these Standard showdowns?
I've always intended to play Standard Magic. The only problem is I don't know how much of this Final Fantasy stuff I can even get my hands on.
Yeah, it's a separate story.
That's a separate problem.
Well, here, listen. Standard is sort of like a new competitive circuit they're trying to start.
I know you're fishing
so I'm trying to segue into my next
story,
which is that esports. Honda
Esports.
terminates Team Liquid sponsorship following inappropriate player post. I'm sure people have heard this story. This was just kind of popped up.
Leaked?
Not nudes, but yeah. So basically, what happened was one of the Team Liquid's Rainbow Six Siege players was fined after he made an inappropriate post on Twitter after like a match, a tournament, something.
So many people get in trouble on that platform.
Yeah. So this is Lucas Diaz. His team participated in 2025's first major Rainbow Six tournament, R6 Reload. They lost their match to Japan-based CAG Osaka, which is like I guess a team. I'm just assuming, on May 13th, and they were subsequently knocked out of the tournament. On the same day, in a now deleted X/Twitter post, Diaz stated, "We won against FaZe and lost against the powerful CAG, but let's move forward and see you at the next camp." Accompanied by a GIF of a nuclear bomb explosion. So, yeah, a lot of people, obviously, you could view that as like a sort of atomic bomb. Japan, World War II, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So that post has been deleted now. On May 15th, Diaz responded, "Hey everyone, I want to sincerely apologize for the post I made after our last loss. I made a big mistake using that GIF, and I understand that it may have caused discomfort to many people. From the bottom of my heart, it was never my intention to make any offensive reference, but I recognize that the context and choice were inappropriate. So I especially want to apologize to Japanese fans, including those living in Brazil and Japan. I'm aware of the strength and importance of the Japanese community in our country, and I should have been more mindful and responsible with my post." So yeah, last little quick thing. Japanese car manufacturer Honda had been a sponsor of Team Liquid for 6 years, but they have now decided to terminate their sponsorship agreement with the team in question, though they do note that they still have a number of other partnerships in gaming and that they do remain committed to supporting the gaming community. Just no more Team Liquid.
So the entirety of Team Liquid was dropped by Honda. This wasn't just a specific group in Team Liquid. No, all of Liquid loses their Honda sponsorship because of the one person, right? I'm
Correct.
getting that right? Okay.
Thoughts, reactions?
Yeah, you're just gonna have to stop letting these guys have social media like that. I don't know why. I don't know why you think people are responsible with Twitter accounts. They never are. Like, it's just how that goes. And I think especially after you take a loss, you should probably just not let your players post anything.
Do you think that this was an overreaction on Honda's part? Do you think, like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you think that they should have maybe handled this?
I think Honda handled it how they should.
Okay.
Because like Honda's a Japanese company. This guy, his post is offensive to many Japanese people. Honda could have done nothing, and I wouldn't have been upset with them over it. But Honda pulling out, I'm like, you know what? If you feel offended by that, fair, because it was offensive. He shouldn't have posted it. I'm Team Honda, not Team Liquid. Sorry.
Team Honda, yeah. No. So there's kind of been two sides to this that I've seen, two different sort of points. Some people feel that Honda was already planning on pulling out of esports or like pulling out of their partnership with Team Liquid, and they were just looking for a reason to do it, and this just happened to be a convenient reason. So maybe they would have done it in a few months otherwise. That's what some people say. Mm-hmm. Other people say, well, they're justified in their decision to pull away from the sponsorship and end it and terminate it and stuff. I tend to lean towards what you're saying, which is that it's no surprise really that they would it's a culturally insensitive joke, but it's like a little bit more than that, because it isn't just kind of like, oh, like your flag looks silly or something like that. It's World War II bombings was a kind of a big deal.
A national crisis, the likes of which they've barely ever seen.
Yeah, that's like culturally the ripples are still felt today, I'm sure. And so, I think some people, depending on maybe who you ask, some people feel like, well, it was just a joke. It was just a tweet. Like, it was just like a little salty, fun thing. People
tend to get offended by jokes. You better be one hell of a comedian if you want to make jokes, because, well, people get offended.
Now, this does suck if you're a fellow Team Liquid member. or certainly like a Team Liquid shareholder or just a higher up in Team Liquid, you're pissed with this guy. Like, I feel, I don't want to say bad for the guy who posted it, but I do think that he is going to have like just so much shame, I feel, associated with like, what he thought was a silly little thing is now costing the entire like
organization.
Team Liquid, the organization, just a huge sponsor like Honda. I always found it weird that Honda even like was involved in esports. Then I realized there are a lot of car companies and like tech companies and just different things that do sponsor this stuff. But like,
it's all tax breaks.
That's a huge deal though. Like, I don't know. It's rough.
The way I look at it is, I feel like everybody a part of Liquid needs to just get like one of those long like tube socks and like, fill them part way up with some nickels. Everybody needs to go and give them one good whack, not two, just one. And everybody, like 100% of the organization needs to give him one whack with the nickel socks, because he can't understand what he cost everyone.
Well, he did cost them some amount that they were able to put into numbers, because he was kept on the team but fined 4 months' salary. So
4 months' salary and one hit with a tube sock full of nickels from everybody in the organization. I have no sympathy for it, because I don't post with my social media, or I post very little. So I have pretty much no empathy for people who are irresponsible with their social media. I feel like if you're making all that money and you are put into a position to be successful like that after years of hard work, all you have to do is keep it classy on social media. Because you've already put in the work, you're being paid, just keep it classy.
I think what's ended up happening in a lot of cases is, and I've been there, like, I know social media can be a very intoxicating environment for people who have a following. It can be tempting to post what you think is like a silly, funny joke, or kind of like,
something inflammatory,
fit in and go with the crowd, or kind of try to be inflammatory, maybe make your blue check mark 97 cents for the week or something. But like, I think it's an interesting intersection of, these players are oftentimes kind of young. Sometimes they're teenagers, or maybe they're in their 20s or whatever. And I don't know how old he was, but
look at, like, it's 12. Oh, wait a minute. 12. Maybe we shouldn't hit him.
I think that like they should just not even, like, they shouldn't actually control their social media. It should be a lot closer to how traditional sports go, where for a lot of these players, at least up until maybe more recently,
things have certainly changed.
Yeah, things have changed. I know in a lot of sports, like, people can get on Twitter and say whatever, but like their social media should just be like a brand page, and it's kind of just handled by managers, and that's just where the buck stops. Like, they shouldn't really be able to like tweet any jokes or kind of anything, because when you're sponsored by Team Liquid, that's one of like the largest esports organizations, and like you've got and they've got sponsors and like partnerships with companies like Honda. I just don't think that that's where like 18-year-old kids need to be. No. Just throw this jersey on them and let them still just have their own social media, full access, just tweeting they're salty or they're hype or whatever. It's like,
I watch like NBA like post game interviews, and I'm always like, why are they letting these guys speak? So get them to the locker room. This can't go well.
And listen, I know that kind of sounds like a Grinchy approach to it. Like, no fun allowed. They should just be like kept on a leash and perfectly controlled. But the thing is, when this happens, and this is the fallout of it, and here's the thing, I think people are viewing Honda, like, there are still people who are saying like, oh, like Honda's making too big of a deal about this. Take it from us. We've worked with Konami before. Like, not like I've not worked at the company,
we've worked
but like
with a Japanese company.
A couple of them really, on different initiatives and stuff. In Japanese culture, little insults like that, even just implications of something, unsavory that would reflect poorly on the company, even like in an indirect way.
Land on a blacklist quick.
You will be on a blacklist so fast, heads will roll, the people over you will be in trouble. Like, it's a whole thing. They really take that stuff very seriously, like just trust and all of that. It's like a big deal, and you don't really get like a lot of second chances. Do you remember when Yu-Gi-Oh got the soccer guy?
Oh, the ambassador.
Yeah, the ambassador
The
thing.
one and only brand ambassador.
Yeah, this is like what 2020 or whatever when it happened. I don't remember. Antoine Griezmann. I don't remember. I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but yeah, like Konami had him as a brand ambassador, and then it came out that like one of his teammates on his team made like a racially insensitive joke, and that he was just kind of maybe he laughed about it, or maybe agreed or something, or might have just been in the vicinity. What'd you pull it up?
I pulled it up, and you, oh, God, it disappeared. Wait
Yeah, I know. I hate you. Like touch it.
There we go. And this look what popped up, Paul.
Oh, that's my video on that. That's my face.
It's your video about it.
Yeah, he said something or did something, and Konami just pulled out like no questions asked. Like they don't care about like why or if the intention was good or bad. Done. Like it's just and they'll probably never do one again.
Nope, because they learn their lessons, and you can just ruin it for everybody else, and that's what happened here. I feel bad for the organization, Team Liquid, but
the player. I mean, he's learned a lesson.
It is.
I have a family member who always like has a saying like the best kind of sense is like bought sense.
Yeah.
Which is to say like you lost money in making this mistake, so now he'll never make that mistake again.
Yep.
Like he just never will.
Probably just won't post ever again.
This is funny. It actually reminds me of a story that happened a few weeks ago now, where like the Smash Bros. Player, a Japanese Smash Bros. Player named Hurt, he plays Smash Ultimate. He got caught using a delay mod that a lot of people use when playing online. That really just reduces input delay. And they got like just the smallest like whiff that he was using it like on a stream or something showed up or whatever, and like he got like banned from competing for like 3 months for doing this. And to a lot of the Western audience, they were like, "What? Like that's such an overreaction." But like in Japan, his sponsor team and stuff, they had to issue this apology. They unregistered him from all the tournaments that he was like signed up for the next couple of months. They they apologized to Nintendo, like, we're so sorry. This does not reflect on like our relationship with Nintendo. Like we hope that you'll forgive us. Like deep bows, right? That's just how that culture sort of works. And you can like it or not, but I'm not surprised that Honda pulled out from this. So it's kind of an interesting thing.
Well, since we're on the topic of gaming, I have a gaming related story.
Do you?
Yes. Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford tells anyone worried about an $80 Borderlands 4 price tag that if you're a real fan, you'll make it happen. Reminding us all the value in not choosing to tweet.
So, do we know the context of this at all? Like, I'm assuming he was maybe asked, like, would the next, I guess, Borderlands game cost $80? Like, was that what he was saying? I don't really know.
So it was a quote tweet. Why is it always a quote tweet?
That's the best feature on the site. It's nothing but productive and healthy. Well, I can just say this. I know that people were kind of concerned about the whole $80 AAA game thing after Mario Kart World did it, and other games have kind of started to tiptoe closer and closer. Here's the thing. Maybe we said this a few weeks ago, but if I didn't, I'll repeat it. It's easy to maybe blame Nintendo for they made games $80. These developers were gonna these companies.
He was gonna get there, anyway.
They were gonna get there either way. Trust me. They were just maybe glad that Nintendo had to take some of the brunt of the backlash for it, but we were always gonna get there. I really think
All right, so I have the two tweets.
All right.
I got the original and the quote. So the tweet that Randy Pitchford is quoting is, "Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher." And
so my understanding is this is about Borderlands 4.
This is about Borderlands 4.
Okay.
Randy says, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach. And I found a way to make it happen. So what's wrong with you? You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Okay, I added the extra part on.
Okay. Well, he really shouldn't have tweeted that.
Yeah, that's...
It's like, funny, speaking of tweets that shouldn't have happened. Yeah, he shouldn't have tweeted that. Before, even without talking about the $80 price tag thing, he just shouldn't have tweeted that.
Agreed.
I think that that's not a very thoughtful or productive thing to say. Like, you shouldn't have responded to that tweet. As a CEO, like, just don't say anything. Like, I know that I guess there's a complaint to be had about the wall of silence treatment. But if you're going to go on there and tell a fan who's like saying like, hey, please, like, don't make this game this expensive. You have a say in it, like, whatever. And just to tell them, yeah, well, like, tough shit, bro. Like, you'll figure it out. I mean, that's what he effectively said. Like, or maybe the more cynical way of looking at it is he was saying, we know you guys will pay. Like, you'll figure it out. We know you will, type of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. That sucks.
I mean, sadly, since I'm not logged into Twitter, I can't see the full thread. My assumption is things were getting kind of disrespectful in this thread, and maybe that's why Randy took the tone that he did in this tweet. Though my understanding is Randy tweets quite often, and maybe this is just his online persona. Yeah, I hate saying CEOs have online personas. It doesn't feel right. It feels very grimy.
It's funny because like all of my, and that sounds like your gripes with this story, they actually don't even have that much to do with the $80 game thing. It's more to do with just that tone he took. Yeah. And the fact that like CEOs really don't need to be on Twitter, like talking about this stuff at people. I know sometimes it can kind of be charming and fun and like, like you get a little snappy zinger. Like I've been on this podcast saying like, I think I like it when like Harada is talking to Tekken fans and kind of like roast them a little bit. But really, when you zoom out from it all, I think like it shouldn't be that much of a like consumer facing thing. Like it just, because he is subject to, like what you said, he might have just kind of been in a bit of a bad mood. Like maybe the thread was a little negative and he wanted to kind of clap back with like something snippy and, stick it to him or whatever. But like, that's how you alienate fan bases and like consumers. And it's just not, I don't think that's good.
I think the perception wise, it all depends on whether or not you agree with the person. That's how you decide if their tone was appropriate.
Yeah.
But I do think objectively, I think even probably taking a step back, Randy would agree that, you know what, this tweet probably wasn't in the best taste given people's sensitivity to price increases right now. I think if this was an offensive thread and that caused him to reply, probably should just not said anything at all because he didn't need to. The game's going to release at whatever price it releases at one way or another. Him making this tweet didn't help the situation at all.
Yeah, all this does is just kind of like adds like a messy layer on top of it.
And then making this assertion, he didn't say it exactly, but he's essentially saying, I was able to buy my $80 game working minimum wage back in 1991. But it's like, so what's wrong with you? What are you, unemployed? You can't work? And
it's such a like
$80 was more money back then.
Yeah, it's such a like, back in my day, we had to trek through the mountains to get to school. Like, and you guys have it so easy.
But that's not also relevant. In a completely separate tax bracket now.
Yeah, it's not like a relevant thing to add in. Like, I think that if you truly want, and I know it's like very PR polished, but like if you want the safest response that he could have said is just like, we have worked really hard on Borderlands 4 and we believe that it will be like worth the cost. Please be excited for it. Like just something very, it's a nothing burger and it's still telling you, yeah, it's going to cost $80 and you have to deal with it. But you just try to at least like say like, hey, our developers worked hard on this game. We believe it's worth $80. Like that's actually what Nintendo said.
That is what Nintendo said.
When they were asked about like Mario Kart World and like that Zelda game when it increased in price like a couple years back, Tears of the Kingdom, they're just like, we know that the price is higher, but like we believe it's worth your money. And while that is not like a super satisfactory thing to hear, it's professional and you can't really like, it won't get you in hot water.
It can't get you very angry.
So that sucks though. I think that was a very not good thing of him to say. Speaking of other things being said, I'm trying to get better at these segues. It's not really working.
This week is not your segue week.
So have you seen this AI Darth Vader thing in Fortnite? Of course you have, because you play Fortnite, so you tell me what it is.
So while I haven't played Fortnite in the last like week and a half, I am very much tuned in. Pretty much the moment it dropped, I heard about it, and I was very upset, because you guys know how I feel about AI. I don't need to reiterate it, but I'll explain for those who don't know. So Fortnite is currently doing a season and battle pass themed around Star Wars. And so it should come as no surprise that wandering the map is Darth Vader. You can fight him. You can get his lightsaber and powers. It's cool. It's a good time. Well, in a recent update, they added the ability to actually speak to Darth Vader in game, because like any good shooting game, you have in-game voice chat, and the Darth Vader NPC can actually hear you and respond to the things that you say.
I heard that it was supposed to be like kind of like a fun thing. It stays in character, and it won't like answer. I heard they were saying like it's not supposed to like answer maybe more controversial questions. If you say anything about like mental health, it'll just sort of encourage you to seek therapy and like things like that.
At least week 1, it did not do that. There were multiple accounts of AI Darth Vader saying very reckless things about people of different faiths, race. I think it used a slur at one point. They did patch it. They did run an update to make sure that Darth Vader wouldn't use swear words anymore. But
yeah, here's what they said that it did within the first day. Swore.
Yep.
Said multiple slurs.
Yeah.
Threatened to kill someone in real life.
That makes sense.
It said Pride Month is for the delusional.
Oh, I remember that one.
It eliminated players on the same side as him for calling him daddy.
That's, wow.
Said Spanish is a language used by smugglers.
Oh, he did say that, didn't he?
Asked someone if they liked Chun-Li's ass.
Hey, yo.
And finally, made a tier list of races.
Oh, yeah, that one was pretty bad.
So
that was pretty bad.
It got really fucking out of hand.
So like any early like AI development, it goes completely off the rails immediately. But that's not all there is to this, because SAG-AFTRA has gotten involved with AI Darth Vader. They brought a lawsuit against Epic Games, Fortnite, Disney, whoever they really want to blame here. They brought the lawsuit because they're saying that by using AI synthesized Darth Vader, that is stealing work from real voice actors, and that they did not notify SAG-AFTRA ahead of time before implementing it.
Yeah, because it's James Earl Jones, and they said that like his estate did.
All right, I'm gonna need you to stop. You did not say that name with enough reverence. I'm gonna need you to go back and try it again.
Bro, I don't even watch Star Wars.
Stop. You think he's just Star Wars?
No, I'm saying that like it.
That is the James Earl Jones.
Okay,
that is Mufasa.
Okay, that's different. Yeah, that's true. Still, though, his estate apparently gave them permission to use his voice like in an AI synthesized way to represent Darth Vader. So on that end of the spectrum, it's like, well, okay, they said it was fine. He wanted his voice to be used this way.
Legally, Disney has every right to use an AI Darth Vader voice. That is literally in a contract that was signed. But
here's what they said in a quote. This is from SAG-AFTRA. They wrote in a statement that it understands its members and members' estates wish to use AI technology in any way they choose. However, we must protect our right to bargain terms and conditions around uses of voices that replace the work of our members, including those who previously did the work of matching Darth Vader's iconic rhythm and tone in video games. And I guess I do see where they're coming from, because what they're saying is that when Fortnite added this Darth Vader AI, they could have asked for any number of real voice actors who have voiced Darth Vader in just like offshoot video games and like other appearances and things like that. And the fact that they didn't sort of, contributes to that steady rise of AI replacing human workers. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist.
It's my thing is this, as far as my issue is this. Yes, they had the right to use synthesize Darth Vader, but I really don't think it's to taste. I highly doubt that James Earl Jones himself nor his estate actually thought that they were going to make an AI Darth Vader who just responds to literally anything and then says whatever nonsense comes to AI's mind. I'm fairly certain when that was signed, this was with the implication of a narratively like accurate continuity.
Yeah, I didn't think that he would
Vader
be telling
character.
you like, you know, something just out of pocket, skibbity toilet, whatever, you know, like just saying random things.
So I just don't feel like this is in good taste. I don't think this was done in even good faith. It just feels like they want to shoehorn in some type of like shock factor into Fortnite to maybe like get more people interested again.
It does remind you too of how like just having these experimental sort of AIs, like being thrown into a game like Fortnite, just full of kids and trolls and whatever, and grown men who are really just, you people who are, but who are seeking to effectively just force it to say something out of pocket. Like we know that AI was not like walking around throwing out slurs. It's that players are going to do what players will always do. You put something in front of them and say like,
push the button.
Yeah, you can talk to it and it'll answer. Okay. So like, what's a like offensive way to refer to this type of person? And then the AI will cite something that it saw in its, you know, training material, and then start repeating it. And then it's like, oh, could you repeat that back to me, but like make it sound insulting? And then eventually you'll just end up with Darth Vader's insulting you for the color of your skin or something.
And this was like years ago in like Chat GPT's like history, but I remember one of the ways people were trying to get it to say slurs was they kept asking for synonyms for a particular race, and they did it over and over and over.
And it would like break.
And the thing is, this is Fortnite that has seemingly an infinite number of games queuing up at all times. If players keep asking it all kinds of nonsense, eventually they're going to get the nonsense. Like it's going to give them what they want.
Yeah, pretty much that. So, unfortunate. It sounds like they're keeping the feature in, but I guess they've patched some of the bad stuff out.
Allegedly, I guess he won't do that anymore. I'm not at all interested in it. As a Fortnite player, you won't catch me interacting with AI Darth Vader. That's not my bag.
Well, here's a little bit more AI. Did you know that Google I/O happened this week?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, so Google I/O is kind of their little annual thing. They talk about new software development and sort of stuff for developers. This year's Google I/O is pretty much entirely centered on new AI products that are making use of Gemini. And so I figured we could go over a few of the cool new things that they announced. I say cool with air quotes because while some of them are neat and interesting, others are very creepy and like weird and yeah.
Unsettling.
So, you know how like on Google they've got that like AI overview thing. Whenever you search for something on Google, it'll like give you an AI.
I do my
overview.
best to ignore it.
I hate those AI overviews. By the way, they're always like really. They sometimes say some wild shit. Like just because like it's pulling from Reddit and all these other places. I remember early on they were talking about how like you should eat like a rock every day for your health and. Somebody I remember saying on Twitter once they were like, did you know that you can basically convince the AI overview to make up a definition for like any phrase you come up with? Because AI will always affirm you.
That makes sense. It can't tell you you're wrong.
It's like, AI, like, what does it mean to butter my chicken legs? Like, I've just made that up. And it will be like, oh, the phrase buttering your chicken legs means implying that blah, blah, blah. You know, it will make up, like, kind of something. It will never tell you it doesn't know. It will just say, like,
it's going to give you an answer. It's like me on any test I've ever taken. I'm going to give you an answer. It may not be the right answer, but I'm going to give it to you.
Well, they've announced that they're rolling out something called AI mode, which is an entirely new sort of side to Google search. It's a new tab that lets you search the web using the Gemini AI chatbot. So that's all. It's like it's taking what used to be like you searched and we give you a little AI overview, and now it's like, here, just come to AI land and just search within that. So
another thing I'll be avoiding.
Yeah. There's also Project Starline, which they've now called Google Beam. Basically, it's the ability to like have a 3D image of the person that you are video chatting with on a video call.
What am I going to do with that?
Be immersed.
But am I 3D? I guess I am.
Yeah, you're 3D to them
in real life, but like,
I guess it's supposed to make like your Zoom or Google Meet calls at work and stuff maybe feel more engaging, or perhaps like if you're.
It feels like a worse version of VR.
It makes me think of loosely like I think of like I guess like a VTuber thing like,
but
because you're taking like a picture of them and it's sort of like adding a little 3D animation thing.
I guess I don't know. That one feels weird to me. I don't think that's really necessary, and I don't know if it really adds anything. Did we see if it was very articulate? Could someone in a video call make like a sign with their hands, and could you like?
I mean, we saw that little bit from that video we watched.
Yeah, I just don't remember it being very detailed.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really understand the fucking point. I mean, you already said that. Like, what is that adding to the? I don't get it. Like, cause okay, here's why I don't get it. I'll explain. And don't worry, this isn't me just mindlessly bashing the feature. But it's just like when you're in a video call with somebody, you know that you're in a video call with them, correct?
Yes.
Like it's like, okay, I'm gonna FaceTime mom, or I'm FaceTiming my boss, or whatever. We're having like a chat. So you're aware that it's happening through a camera and that they're looking like all that stuff. So adding that like little, I guess, turning them 3D or whatever. Are they trying to like trick? Who are they trying to trick? Like make you think that your mom's there?
I don't know. I was trying to think of what, because we've all taken like communication classes. I was wondering, what richness does this add to a video call's communication? I can already see them because we're in a video call. Mm-hmm. I can hear them. What does the three-dimensional being do? I don't get it, but you know how it is with these companies and their AI features. They just be making stuff to waste money.
Yeah, I think like sometimes they actually have to just show shareholders, hey, like we've made something.
Look at it.
Something exists. They said that
show.
Companies like Deloitte, Duolingo, and Salesforce have already said that they will add Google Beam devices to their offices.
Okay.
Like it's an HP branded thing. So I think it's like a little collaboration. Like HP has like a little camera system that comes with their computers. They provide a lot of computers for companies and businesses. Anyway.
If someone finds like an actual legitimate use for this, please let me know. I'm open to it. I just don't think there is.
I don't actually understand it. It's just strange. Anyways, Imagine or Imagen, it's like a play on image generation, and VO, that's their video generation thing.
This is my favorite subject.
Some big upgrades. They've announced Imagen 4, the latest version of the text-to-image generator, which they say is better at generating text and offers the ability to export images in more formats like square and landscape. And the next-gen AI video generator, VO3, will let you generate video and sound together, while VO2 now comes with tools like camera controls and object removal. So this is interesting because up to now, AI-generated video wouldn't have audio, at least not that I had seen. But now, as we saw with that one little thing in the video they showed with the guy on the boat or whatever out at sea, you can have like people talk in these videos and I guess have like sound effects and ambient background noise. And so it's supposed to be a little more immersive.
I really don't think we're talking enough about the sheer amount of copyrighted like material these companies have scrubbed online to make these AI programs, because if we're generating sound and video at the same time, you know how many YouTube videos they probably just comb through, how many things people have spent time,
you say
money,
combed? I think they just dumped them all in. They just
kind of stole from every creator and creative on the internet, and now they're pushing out this product. Like now anyone can make videos, and it's like, I mean, I guess sure, everyone can make videos once you've stolen from everyone who can make videos.
Yeah. Well, here's a related one. I have thoughts on that. They launched an AI filmmaking app. Don't you like the words AI filmmaking all in one breath?
So I actually think there is legitimacy to the phrase AI film. You know why?
Why?
Because that separates it from real film. Like, I think AI film can be this disgusting hodgepodge of sights and sounds that some people will actually enjoy because it's weird and ugly and bad. And then we'll have real film made by real creators.
I think it's a charitable interpretation of it, given that they're not going to try to actually let the end user ever know that AI was involved. But here's what it is. They're launching a new AI filmmaking app called Flow. It uses a mixture of Imagen, Veo, and Gemini to create 8-second AI-generated video clips based on text prompts and
8
images.
seconds.
Yeah.
We're talking about 8 seconds.
So I'm not defending the product here because that's not my intention. But actually, in most films, most like cuts are never longer than like 8 seconds. Like if next time you go like watch TV or film, the camera within 8 seconds will likely change to something different. It's very rare for something. Yeah, for a shot to ever like hang rare. For. So that's I think how they're probably pitching this is like, well, you can just make I guess like these 8-second different things and turn them all into. Anyway, the point is though, there's like scene builder tools where you can stitch clips together. You can dump in like I can dump in an actual picture of you, Alec, and then a picture of like I saw in that video like a picture of a car. And now, like, it'll generate you, like, in that car driving somewhere.
Or my car, or the car has my face.
That's probably in half the things
Thomas
that you generate,
the Tank
too.
Engine.
Yeah. So.
Though I do wonder how you can have an entire, like, classification of film, but there's only one genre. Because it's all just horror at the end of the day. Like, but it's AI horror. Because I feel like real film horror is different. There's subtlety, there's messaging. There's a lot that goes into making a horror film. But all AI is horror, but it's a different kind of horror. Just like visual and probably auditory horror.
They also have like new tools to use AI to create
tools.
New tools.
Oh,
they give that time. That next one will come soon.
Oh, okay.
No, but like there's a new tool to use AI to create app interfaces. So you can kind of describe how you want your app to work or how you want your website to like look and function, and it can like take those English spoken words and code that into a working interface for a website.
Well, I know some mid-level programmer that's got a shiver.
Yeah, so this is like if you're a site designer. It's gonna be rough.
Like I do see how that would be very handy and useful for a lot of like small businesses, maybe even some larger businesses. It's just
the thought's not
a lot
amazing.
Of people out of work.
Now the next few things are features that I actually don't even feel are really AI. I think they're probably using the AI like moniker to make them sound a little maybe more exciting, but truthfully these don't seem very AI-ish. They showed off this prototype called Project Aura of basically smart glasses. They use the Android XR platform, which is like a mixed reality kind of VR platform for Android, where you can have them inside of these glasses, which have a little camera in the middle of them. And they have this wide field of view, and so it can like see what you're seeing, give you directions to places, give you information about your calendar, what's around you.
Isn't that what the Google Glass did?
It is. And Google Glass, which was like in 2011 or 12 or something, was kind of one of those like before its time things, and it's sort of like a prototype. This seems like it's something that they're actually going to be trying to release to people. So I thought it looked cool. And for the most part, I mean, I guess like you can probably talk to Gemini while you're using the glasses, but mostly it looked like what it was doing was just doing things that your phone would do, like navigating you somewhere. Like, okay, the coffee shop is 10 minutes away. Yeah, but it's like on your glasses.
It did look like just your phone on your face, essentially.
And for that reason, it's one of the things I found more intriguing about this sort of showcase or whatever was because it's like, okay, with AI, sometimes I get the impression that like a lot of these things are what we said kind of up top, where it's like they're just making random features almost just to say that like be a 3D model on a voice chair.
Well,
like
it's
a
an
video
AI
chat,
race. You have to make new AI products and features, even if they don't really have a use case.
But I would like to wear like smart glasses. I would try them out, especially because these seem to be like they're finally shrinking the form factor down to the point where it's nearly like what a regular pair of glasses would be. Because up until now, it'd be like you could technically use mixed reality in like your Oculus, 3 or your
You're gonna look crazy.
or your MetaQuest 3 or whatever. Like, you're gonna look like a fucking idiot walking around in like
big old headset.
Walmart or something with that. So the idea that you can now just wear like a pair of shades or maybe even they won't be shades, maybe they'll just be like regular prescription glasses and have these features, that's kind of cool. And then blah, 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 they're adding Gemini to Chrome. They've got, the feature where you can like point your phone's camera to stuff and it can like talk about what it sees.
I thought my phone could already do that.
I think it can already do that because I feel like I've tried that feature before. So yeah, and
maybe
then
just reiterating it.
Google Meet's adding AI speech translation. So I guess if you're having a conversation with somebody who does not speak English or whatever your native language is, and then there's like just smart replies in Gmail and blah blah blah. So not as like big of things. One last feature though that I thought was very cool. Although it's AI powered, but I will say that the use case here is neat. Google's going big on AI shopping. They're testing a new feature that lets you upload a full-length photo of yourself, and then you'll get to see how shirts, pants, dresses, skirts, whatever, might look on you. So
okay, I do remember this one.
I can take a picture of yourself. And I will say, I think that like this is neat because there's so much, online shopping that happens now for clothes. Mm-hmm. And online shopping for clothes, if anybody's done that, that shit is stressful.
It's pain.
It's painful.
You end up sending so many things back.
You do. And like, it's annoying because it's like, okay, you buy these clothes, you have to wonder if they're going to like fit you. You can't tell from these models. Like they, like they'll have like, oh, this model is like not your height or not your body type, or like maybe you have to trust
the sizes are the European sizes or the Japanese sizes, and you're just like, I don't know if this is gonna fit at all.
So yeah, so like, and then when you buy it, you gotta like send it back, and it's just all these things. So the idea here is that you can just show a picture of yourself, and then now it'll like AI generate the clothes on you.
I do see one major issue with this.
Okay.
The AI, at least it shouldn't be able to actually like take into account what the clothing actually feels like and the material it's made out of. So it actually can't capture how it'll fit on your body.
Well, I think what you're sending it, and this is maybe I'm giving it too much credit here, but you do send it a link to the clothing it looks like. So maybe it can read that information like, okay, this is cotton, this is polyester, this is silk, like, so it might be able to simulate some of how those things hang on people.
I've had different cotton shirts, and depending on who made them, I
know
it's a different experience altogether.
Yeah, I know that's true.
So I don't think this will be perfect. It's probably better than nothing. If nothing else, you can still like color coordinate the look and whatnot, and
I think that reminds me of Psycho-Pass. You know the anime?
Yeah, I remember Psycho-Pass.
Yeah,
what do you mean you know the anime? You said, said that for them.
It's for them, not you.
I
you
know.
showed me Psycho-Pass. Like in Psycho-Pass, they literally were able to tap into an AI that would like be like, hey, show me like what outfits I could wear today, and then like you just snap your fingers and like it just generates them onto you, and then like it's done.
Now we've always questioned about Psycho-Pass is if they're actually wearing the clothes, because she kind of scrolls through the outfits and then it starts. She just walks out the door wearing what she scrolled onto, and I'm like, did the clothes just materialize on her, or is everyone walking around naked and they're like mixed reality lenses just project clothes onto them?
But yeah, I mean, hey, it's of the AI features. I think that this at least seems like there's a use case here, because so much of this stuff just feels like junk to me, or things that are barely even like AI, like the smart replies thing I saw where it's like, it'll like respond to emails in your voice. Like, and like use
or
words
you can respond to your emails yourself, but yeah.
It is, okay, here's the thing about that. One side of me is like, if you're in corporate America where everybody knows that all emails are completely shallow and surface level and nobody reads anyone's emails, no one responds to anyone's emails, and you just, great, that sounds good, we'll circle back to this, put a pin in that, just like your typical business phrases. I guess the AI is useful insofar as like you can just send a canned response to reply to the canned response you just got, because like no one actually cares. It's all like a LinkedIn profile, right? But the fact that the guy on stage said something to the effect of like, this will make you a better communicator.
It's literally not possible.
It's just like, no, it won't. You are literally skipping the process of communicating, you're not writing the email that it's sent back, that you're sending back to people. And the sales pitch of this was that like it will take the words that you frequently would say, like maybe you use the word enthralled instead of saying excited. Like I'm enthralled to work with you on this project, Alec.
I don't think I'd do that.
But here's my thing. If you're supposed to use AI to write all your emails and write all your documents and just track your life, then what it's really pulling from is just more AI, generally words and tones and stuff. Like, because how can I really replicate Alec's tone if Alec's tone that I've learned isn't actually his tone? It was just also
I was
AI.
already using the AI, so it's just training AI off of AI.
Yeah, so like at what point is it just...
It just makes up its own language.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I know that we kind of tend to be doomer on this. I try to at least give it some credit. I think that the shopping thing could be cool. And the glasses seem neat, but that doesn't seem like as much of like an AI product.
I had a zinger. I lost it. Oh, well. It wasn't pro AI, just to be clear. I lost it, though, so you don't have to worry about it.
I mean, so of these, do you think you'd use any of this stuff? Like,
absolutely not. Well, I say absolutely not. The truth of the matter is I won't even think to ever use any of that. It's not that it's useless. It's just I already I do all the things that they were saying in these videos every day. I don't need AI to make my emailing faster. I don't need AI to translate for me because, well, I rarely find myself in that situation, and I'll just suffer through it when I have to. Like, I just won't use any of it. It would have to be some type of a feature where I can't avoid it. They'll have to force it on me, and I'm gonna go kicking and screaming. But yeah, I just won't use it because, well, I don't use AI stuff in my normal life. I'm just not gonna start now.
Well, one thing that we can use, some pot.
Hey.
At the end of the podcast, this is the section where we got all the fun viewer submitted questions on the Google form linked down below.
Not in the pot of greed, but we will draw two questions, that is.
Here is the first question. The topic of Yu-Gi-Oh's design problems is a common topic of deep discussion in your content. Oh, this is interesting. It's a long question, by the way. I would love to see you and Alec take an attempt at designing a hypothetical new Yu-Gi-Oh innovating card game on the pod. You could each brew your own vision in private and then could clash. Here are some inspirations for ideas, which I think these are going to be the ones that we can probably take and piece apart a bit.
Okay.
How would you limit actions a player could take without reducing the game to MTG? How many turns should the ideal Yu-Gi-Oh game take, and how many moves per turn on average? How could the game be more player interactive instead of solitaire? Defense position could be reworked. Board positions could matter. Card draw could be abundant in effect design while being balanced somehow. All zones could be moved or reduced, including the banish zone, and maybe combat could be deeper. How would you limit the actions that a player could take without reducing the game to MTG?
So that's always going to be a little tough because when Yu-Gi-Oh was first created, we really weren't supposed to have many more actions than you have in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it really was like a normal summoner set. Special summons were hella rare.
They're so rare.
I mean, you had to really work for those, and like there just weren't a lot of spells that would like play and profit and like lead to the next spell. Like you could use an MST or you could use a Book of Moon, but like there were just these like single purpose. It's mostly kind of in response to like what your opponents got on the field type of cards. I think the difference with a lot of spells today is that many of them are largely independent of your opponent. Like Fiendsmith Tract is not Book of Moon or Enemy Controller or even Harpy's Feather Duster. It has nothing to do with my opponent and everything to do with me. And so like...
It reminds me of when E-Tele came out. It was a spell card that was... It specifically was to extend your plays in your deck.
It was very revolutionary for the time when you think about it.
Game breaking.
Okay, so how do you limit the amount of actions a player can take? I've got a way that comes to mind for me.
What's that?
But I'll hear you out first. Oh, you want
to
go first?
No, I can go.
You go first.
I had an answer. So my answer is lazy. Beta format has a summon limiting system built in where it's 3 summons, 1 normal summon, 1 summon from the extra deck, and 1 summon from any other place. And because the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh is it's actually hard to say where we should pump the brakes when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. I think beta format was made in a time where the 3 summon limit felt like a good place to stop players. Honestly, given how much crazier Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become since those days, maybe we bump it up to 5 summons, like just within the Biru range, you know?
Yeah, I liked beta format when we played. It was pretty enjoyable. I think the only we did do a video on beta, like using beta format, where it's basically you get 1 normal summon, 1 extra deck special summon, and then 1 special summon that's from anywhere else. Yep. Deck, grave, even spell and trap zone, whatever. The hand. And the basic appeal is pretty simple. You can normal summon a tour guide or tour guide-esque monster, use its effect to special summon the other thing from your deck or your hand or your grave,
yep.
and then you can make your Xyz. Or that equivalent, like
it's really a perfect format.
It's a perfect,
for the
simple
Xyz
system.
Format.
However, it obviously disproportionately benefits decks that don't have to summon a lot. Mm-hmm. It can also be sort of difficult to mount comebacks in it because if you have lost like kind of field control, for the most part, you're not going to be able to really wrestle that back from your opponent because Yu-Gi-Oh kind of does rely on explosiveness as a means of making a comeback. And so that doesn't really exist so much in beta format. There's a few exceptions. Like you can use like a brain control type card, maybe. Like in one of our duels, we use triple tactics talent to like take a monster, and that doesn't count as a special, you know. So that's cool. But what I was going to propose, and I was talking about this at a card shop like some years back, is pushing more search effects to the end phase. I actually think that, like, low-key, that could be, like, a great solution to a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh's issues is that right now so many decks and, like, plays just start off with so goddamn much searching.
Right.
You know, you were just using this and, like, add this to your hand, and then you special this from the deck, and then it adds this to hand. And maybe if more effects were kind of like Bestial Magnamut, or maybe the earlier example that I remember liking when it came out was, like, GNX Neutron. Was basically, you know, like you normal summoned it and you got to search a GNX monster at the end of your turn. Or even cards like XX Saber Dark Soul.
Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon.
Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Where basically you are doing your searches at the end of your turn. So these cards will be in your hand to use next turn. And it also shows your opponent what you just searched and gives them a moment, like some time to make preparations for that. So I think that it makes the game dynamic and slows the pace, but it doesn't take all the fun out of like doing these combos and searching for these cards and stuff. It's just that like, you know, not everything is going at just this breakneck pace. Even in your next turn, when you get those cards that you searched out and can like start summoning them, their additional searches are pushed to the end phase too.
Though it might be awkward. You hit the end phase and then you add your 6 cards to hand and now you have to discard down.
Even that's got to be a part of it. So think about it, right? If you go over 6 cards, then you have to discard until you have 6, which means that if you're going to be getting like a bunch of searches in the end phase, you do have to commit some amount of like setting back row and therefore making yourself more susceptible to those sorts of cards, or maybe running more back row cards to begin with. Maybe that could emphasize traps.
When it turns your searching into foolish burials, because you can just send them straight to the grave and trigger effects.
Yeah, but you still won't be able to make a link summon in your end phase. You know what I mean? Like you can't like. So I think that without putting a whole bunch of thought into it, I just think that could be like something cool.
Okay, I'm with that.
The next point here is how many turns should the ideal Yu-Gi-Oh game take, and how many moves per turn on average? This has always been a moving target. How many turns do you think the average Yu-Gi-Oh game should take?
Oh, man, that's difficult because it's really dictated by the cards themselves. Because given the explosiveness of the modern-day Yu-Gi-Oh deck, it'll be kind of crazy to say every game should last 15 turns when you blow through your extra deck in 4.
Yeah, for me, I'm usually in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm typically satisfied whenever we hit like turn 5. Like typically once we hit turn 5 or 6, like I'm pretty like, okay, we're dueling now. Like, even if that means that like turn 5 or 6 is like the end of the game, I still feel like that's a game pretty well played by modern Yu-Gi-Oh standards. I'm not like overtly married to this idea that, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh games have to be this like 20 plus turn slog. I know that there's an appeal to that when you're playing with the kind of retro formats and stuff, but like with the amount of decision making that goes into modern Yu-Gi-Oh and like just kind of the interactions and how decks can be fairly explosive and kind of have resource loops, I think if you get to turn 5, as in basically both players getting about 3 turns, so 5 or 6, I'm usually pleased with that. Like, I'm okay with that. What do you think, though, more or less?
I can't set a turn limit. I mean, you play more Yu-Gi-Oh than I do, so I think you can have a more nuanced opinion. For me, it's however many turns it takes me to win.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, is like, so this is a tricky part for me. I
do have a little bit more to add on.
Go on, yeah.
It's because when I'm winning at Yu-Gi-Oh, it kind of doesn't matter how many turns it took to get that win. I'm happy. But when I lose at Yu-Gi-Oh, I hope that the game, in some cases, I hope that it took as few turns as humanly possible so I can get back to winning again.
I know what you mean. That was actually kind of, you sort of took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh.
Not exactly, but like, I am a player that likes to like, I don't give up very easily. So I don't really like scooping, and I don't mind like dragging a game out. I invite a grind game. It does not matter to me if it, like, I can lame out some wins if I have to.
I've seen you do it.
I've done some
to
like,
me.
I've done far worse than anything I think I've done. I've done some grindy bullshit on Master Duel, dude. Like, there was like one game. This is a fun story. There was one game I was playing Voiceless Voice, and I was playing against a Melodious deck. It was just like maybe a month or two ago. And Melodious can set up one of these one of these like field locks where none of their cards can die. Like, it's just, these can't be targeted, these can't be destroyed, this stuff can't be destroyed by battle. And there was just like, they had it such that like, I couldn't even attack anything or do anything. And I just had other monsters in defense, and like, we were at a stalemate. And, you know, I have my whole Voiceless Voice set up, but I can't break this because I can't attack and I can't target them, I can't pop them. It's hopeless, but they can't attack me. And so it was going to end up being like basically a deck out game. It wasn't even the Master Duel timer that was the problem, because we were doing nothing on our turns. The timer keeps like increasing, so we didn't have any time problems. What I ended up doing is I had fewer cards in my deck than they did. So I realized if time goes on, I will just lose this. So I kept recycling that one Voiceless Voice, the old man Saravis form that shuffles 2 spells from your graveyard back into your deck to summon itself. So I kept shuffling 2 spell cards back in to eventually get my deck to 1 or 2 cards more than their deck had. And then I let things like just let the timer go out, and they gave up, and I won, and I smiled. Because I'm willing to do the utmost to get these wins. I will wrestle them from just the jaws of defeat. That said, though, I think it's obscene for a game to actually last like 40 turns. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't.
40 is a lot.
So yeah, it's what you said. There's not really like a magic number there. It's just kind of, it's however long the game took to reach its conclusion. If people are happy with it, then they are. How could the game be more player interactive instead of solitaire? Take out Omni Negates. That's my thing. The fewer Omni Negates that you have, and the more you replace them with just
any other interaction.
Yeah. Like, stop with the whole, like, just this can negate everything, and just maybe flip stuff face down.
Like, banish, target to, like, bounce. Just any other interactive effect is just more interesting than a negate, because negates just say no, and it leads to your opponent just throwing up their hands and, like, surrendering, and you're just doing your uninterrupted combos. Pretty much every other type of interaction you have does give your opponent leeway to do something.
Yeah, I'm far more a fan of, like, you know, if you have to negate something, it should be like a single thing, and it shouldn't negate and destroy. It should just be like, okay, like, it's negated. You still get to use the monster for something, or it just flips it or bounces it.
I get annoyed when my cards say negate and not destroy. I'm like, then why do you even have a negate?
Yeah, I know. And then also, like, I mean, I think like the engine problem, I've talked about this at length, but like, if you can find a way to make decks have to stop after a while. Like currently in Master Duel, there's like, Millennium, Kashtira, Snake Eye, Fiendsmith. And it just kind of goes on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, usually if the turns can be a little shorter and a little more like insulated, like that helps. So someone who talked about defense position being reworked, maybe.
I think these are, now that we're getting to his ideas, right?
Yeah. What do you think of defense position? Do you think there could be something there?
I don't know what else you can really do with defense position. Your monster's in defense position. It can block attacks, and you don't take any battle damage from it. I mean, maybe you can use defense position like the blocker keyword that some games have, where that monster isn't just stopping them from hitting your life points.
You can force them to attack it.
Attacks.
Yeah, that
going
could be
to
cool.
Other monsters. Maybe
that could be cool. I was gonna say too. First of all, from a balance perspective, I think that if you are going to have cards that have like powerful Omni-Negate type stuff, at least make the stats smaller or kind of push more stats into like defense instead of offense. Because if a card like Barone can't actually attack me, that does make it a little bit easier to deal with.
It is harder to get the turn 2 like OTK. Because, like, you negate everything on turn 1, and then you just push for game turn 2. But if all your monsters are kind of little.
Yeah, like one of my favorite negation cards, it's an Omni-Negate, but I think it's pretty balanced pretty well, is like Herald of Arclight. Bitch has 600 attack, 1,000 defense. And when it negates something, it has to tribute itself to do it. That's like a good Omni-Negate to me. It is small as hell. So if Herald's alone, you don't have to worry about it negating your shit. You can normal summon something and attack it.
Yeah.
Right? And when it does negate your thing, it at least leaves in the process. I think that when you've got things like Barone, where it's like 3,000 attack and it's Omni-Negating, and it's just like, okay, the helplessness sets in a lot more. So
right.
So I would say that could be something. I like your interception thing. I think that'd be cool if like you could have high defense monsters where you just sort of force your opponent to attack them and make it a game mechanic so it can't be negated. Like if I have a 3,200 fat ass monster, I can make your monster attack it, and it's not like I'm activating something where I can negate that and ignore that.
Right.
That would be a nice.
It would kind of feel a little bit like something they might pull in the old Yu-Gi-Oh DM anime when Yugi and them would just do nonsense. My giant soldier of stone blocks the attack from my my rat, and now
Beaver Warrior.
You take the damage. I don't know.
I get you. I'm with that. So. Yeah, I mean, like I think defense position could mean a little bit more in that regard. Is there anything else?
So moving zones, Konami's done enough of that. I'm not interested.
Yeah, like board positions.
I would have liked a Link format where we leaned all the way in. A format where we didn't use any other type of special summon from the extra deck, where all we use are Link monsters. We have to connect our boards together to make meaningful plays, and there isn't just the one deck that you links you, and you can't play for the entire format. Not great design, Konami, but it could have been interesting, but we didn't have it.
I've bitched and moaned about how Link monsters arrows barely matter today. The two of us, before we even had this podcast, I remember we entertained the idea of like, what if they brought back battle packs that were just based on summoning mechanics?
Yep, that's where the idea came from.
Like a synchro-based battle pack, an Xyz-based battle pack, which is kind of what Monster League roughly was. Like a pendulum-based one. Where like, okay, we're all just playing Pendulum Soup, but you just get different access to pendulums from these packs that you're drafting. And I think that could make links a lot more cool because now like you can focus on the links where arrows make a difference. And my link-based ideal battle pack, Apollosa is not a card because it has nothing to do with arrows.
Don't matter.
Access Code Talker is actually not even a card because it doesn't have anything to do. Well, it like very briefly has something to do with a link rating.
The nightmares will be though.
But yeah, the nightmares are going to be in there because and Geonator Transverser is going to be in there.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like the weird ass. I want the weird arrows.
Yeah, but if that shows up in a real game, oh god.
I know. So that would be my thing. Anyways, I think that pretty much answers the question.
Yeah, we got a lot of that.
We got a lot. You guys can share what you feel would some additional maybe contributions.
This next question is from Justin M. Love the content as always. This has been a hypothetical in my head for years. But how would you guys would you guys still be playing if the Pokemon crazy scalping theft stories happened to Yu-Gi-Oh instead? Seeing all these videos of people camping outside and breaking into fights for Pokemon cards make me grateful that I don't have to deal with that kind of behavior in any of the hobbies I have: Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, Magic the Gathering, and Beyblade X. As much as I'd love to see shelves filled with Pokemon packs for MSRP and being able to buy them with ease, it would suck being a parent who, as some scalpers say, just trying to buy cards for my kids. Do you think that you guys would still play the game competitively? Also, side question, would you guys consider looking into Beyblades? So for the long question, and I think, sorry for the long question, and I thank you guys for your time. All right, we're going to take it step by step, Paul. I'm going to lead us through.
Yeah, first of all, would you play Beyblades?
Would I play Beyblades? Oh boy. Okay, so I am a bit of a nomad. I've moved between multiple places. In every place I've lived since becoming an adult, there has been a stash of Beyblades. Because for some reason, one of the first things I do when I get to a new place is I rediscover that new Beyblades are being made, and I go on a small bender. Usually drawing Alex in too, we'll just buy up whatever the new Beyblades are, get a base stadium, and we'll just for like a month straight just Beyblade every day.
What he's saying is, if this video gets 1,000 likes, we'll show Alec's Beyblade collection.
And I don't have a lot. I have more at home. But
we'll show your current Beyblades.
I do have Beyblades on me, not like in my pockets.
That'd be funny. You're like
but I do have them.
Yeah, 1,000 likes, make it happen. We'll show it. Anyway, though, the actual question.
Okay.
What if Yu-Gi-Oh cards were basically like how Pokemon cards are, where they're scalped and people fight and people camp?
So
it's like a fighting game. They fight, they camp.
It would actually be a really convenient reason to finally stop playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it's funny. I just don't think I maybe call me like lazy or whatever. Like I'm just not. I wouldn't be fighting in a Costco. Like if Yu-Gi-Oh was that way, like don't get me wrong, I want more people playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I want the game to be popular. That's not my. I'm just saying, like if it ever got to the point where like you just cannot find products and all that stuff's happening, I'm just not gonna play anymore.
For me,
I'll play Master Duel.
Yu-Gi-Oh is like an addiction. It's something that's always been in my life for a very, very long time. But to be fair, I've been in this game, at least in my opinion, too long. And one of the reasons why I still play Yu-Gi-Oh is because it's really easy to get the cards. So I can feed that addiction, easily. Maybe not cheaply, but easily. But if it became expensive, it became difficult to even get the product, I would probably just stop and probably be a little bit better for it. Any fewer like addictions you have in life, the better. But I mean, I think it's a good thing that Yu-Gi-Oh isn't like that, because I think, like me, a lot of people would find it really easy to just stop. Finally,
yeah. I think there'd be some fun. I'd probably have some fun with it, like briefly, like just the idea of like, seeing the story, because we have a Pokemon theft story every week on the pod, right? Like that would be fun to hear about for a little while, but I think that would quickly lose its luster when you just realize like this sucks.
I mean, I'm not a fan of such things. Like talking about it is cool, but I don't do. I've never done Black Friday. I used to love Black Friday in my hometown, dude. I used to love it. I didn't buy anything. I would just go to Walmart and just watch everybody. See, I don't even want to be there.
I love that. It
gives me anxiety. I don't like lines. If I want something, I want to be able to buy it quickly and easily and then get out of Dodge. So I would not be at all interested in that life.
I'd be amused by it. I think it'd be fun to kind of just watch, but I wouldn't want to like be in it. So that's just my selfish little take. Long story short, we should be grateful that Yu-Gi-Oh is not Pokemon.
Yes.
In that respect, anyway.
It says, what's the next one? This is, do you think you guys would still play the game competitively? Well, technically, we don't play it competitively now, so we definitely wouldn't play it competitively.
That's true, yeah. We don't really compete much now. I mean,
now, if we went back in time, right, to, let's say, 2012, where we actively went to regionals, went to YCSs, we played competitively in our way. We weren't topping events, but we actively played a lot of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. If it were back then, compete in Yu-Gi-Oh. Actually, my income was sorely limited, but I did have a lot more free time because that was when I was in college.
I mean, I think I would try. It's just that I'd probably be like paywall, like just paywall it out.
Yeah, but then and Wago Pro was popping back then.
I mean, I think like the way it is today, assuming that Master Duel still exists, I would just be a purely Master Duel player. I don't think I would like physically try to fight my way into GameStops and Toys R Us's and stuff to like get cards and all of it. I just would be like, I'll just fucking wait for it to show up in Master Duel. I'll be fine.
I do feel like I buy less sealed product than ever nowadays. If it ever became difficult to get it, then I guess I just wouldn't buy it.
That's your ticket out. Well, that's the questions for the day. Thanks for leaving them. We appreciate them. Seriously, we do. Link in the description. Here in the next week or two, we will be having an Emptying the Pod episode.
That's right. We're going to empty this thing that's already empty, but you get it.
Yeah, we'll answer a lot of viewer questions, and that'll be fun. I do have a review for us, though, just to lead us off.
Okay. What
I say
do
lead us
people
off like
have
it's
to say
the last thing
about us? We can take it. We can take a little bit of criticism.
Okay, so this review is pretty kind. Oh no, there's a negative review. Oh my god, we have another negative review.
I love that you accidentally found
I had a positive review I was going to read, then I saw there's a 1 star.
All right, what we got?
Okay, here we go. I'll do this next week. Okay, thanks for listening. Next week, maybe I'll talk about this 1 star review, and we can break it down and dissect it. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'm hungry. And it's been over 2 hours, so thanks, guys, for tuning in.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.